still going to put her in a basement because they know when she starts talking, she sounds fucking stupid. So, yeah, they're going to stop that as much as they can. But still, if she gets exposed, she flatlines. She doesn't know how to react. We saw it when she faced Tulsi Gabbard at that debate. Saw it in the Lesser Hall interview. And the fact that she's in the last week, the last 7 days since she became the presumptive nominee, she's backtracked on like 6 different claims entirely. She said she wanted to do a gun buyback program in like 2019 when she wanted to run for the president position originally. She just backtracked that claim. She said she wanted Medicare for illegals. She just backtracked that claim. And by the way, it's not her saying it's out of her mouth directly, because if she gets pushed back, she's not going to say anything. It's her staffers putting out statements for her. But yeah, apparently she's backtracked on that. She's backtracked on amnesty. She's backtracked on banning fracking. Like she's going to lie herself into the presidency as long as she can, because she can't defend any of the shit she said in the past.
She's just basically been flip-flopping on actually every interview. And if you want to have a serious, not like a Curious George discussion, if you want to have a serious discussion of the policy and the fears that I have, I actually do. Seriously, I have fears about an Iran could be kind of exploration of, possible turmoil with Israel and Gaza. I have huge concerns about that. And who's going to lead it? Do I think Kamala could do that? Who's never sat down at the table? Who's known to actually miss cabinet and staff meetings and skip them altogether because she didn't want to attend? Those things are there. Like, she has the second highest record for the most absentee votes, like in modern era. 51%. She's missed 51%. Like, I need a president. Like, Trump may tweet stupid shit at 2 in the morning, and I'll give you that. The guy fucking does moronic shit that makes me cringe. But at least I know at 2 a.m. the motherfucker's still awake, focusing on something. He's doing something. He's working there. At least he's thinking about the country. May not be doing a great job or the exact job that I want to, but at least I have a guy who's willing to address reporters. He gave the most access of any president. You could ask him anything. And you kind of knew where the country was at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. At any given point in time, you had. That's the best I can hope for. Right now, I know that there's a fight in the Republican Party about who's going to lead it. Trump's winning that fight. But, I mean, I don't want whatever the Democrat agenda is, the infrastructure project. I don't want the gripping that's going on under the Inflation Reduction Act. I don't want those 73 companies that are basically getting fucking Kamala favors. They're not even green projects. They're not even green fucking companies. They're just getting billions of taxpayer dollars under the Inflation Reduction Act for fucking shithole. Like, I have concerns about this shit. I really do. I'm tired of seeing Americans struggle to pay mortgages, rent. I'm tired of seeing people in camps, like literally camping, because they can't afford an apartment, but they're paying for a campground that has showers. And they're not shitting in the street. These are wholesale families. And I'm sitting there going, well, can we address this? Do we need to flood the border and have competition for low-income housing across the nation? No, this is not something we need to do. We don't need to try to reduce economic pictures or economic portfolios or pitfalls to help boost the rich. I'm pissed that we just watched the greatest transfer of wealth occur during the pandemic, and then we're about to watch it again. The latest job numbers had Wall Street fucking panicking, which fuck those guys. I hope they don't drop off the fucking edge of their building. But at the end of the day, what they're going through is affecting Main Street. And you know what the simple address was? Whatever. We still have Americans missing. And Biden was going, well, why didn't Trump rescue? 2 of the 3 fuckers were captured under his fucking watch, but he was expecting Trump to do it. Like, this is how stupid this argument starts to get. So I have problems with the Democrats leading this nation. Like, out of the 42 open armed conflicts, which one do you want me to focus on? Like, do you think she can take the helm? Do you think she's going to do great? Like, in all seriousness.
Most people who support Kamala can't even say why they support Kamala specifically. They just say they oppose Trump and want Democrat in office. So they'll just say, regular Democrats audience. But they already know Kamala is not their ideal candidate, but they're on
Like, share, subscribe. What are you waiting for? Hit that like button right now. Share the video on your Twitter, on your X. Like and share, like and share, like and share. Subscribe podcast.
Same thing for her senatorial administrative stuff. Fucking massive issue. Same thing as me. Again, like when people sit there and do this analysis of Trump versus this, I know what I get with the orange guy. I had 4 years of it. Kamala, she will bend and drop to anybody who tells her to. You see this right now. You can tell it. This woman is not affecting. She never has been. The bitch is not even raised American. Like, this is the part that pisses me off. She grew up in fucking Canada. She's an American citizen, 100%. But she did not grow up through the experiences of Black American as a child. She was raised in fucking Canada. She went to school in Canada. Like, that's not, you can't correlate to this. And then she's going to run on somehow identification of blackness to black people. Like, you guys know what being black in America is. It's vastly fucking different than being black in Canada. Even a white guy like me can fucking see that shit.
But where'd Dominic go? Get bored of getting his ass kicked. I hate talking to an image. I was just looking up the details of this prisoner swap, though, that recently happened. And, I don't know, man, like, honestly, I mean, on one hand, obviously, it's great that we're able to get innocent people out of jail from Russia. But on the other hand, what a shit show is it that we have to give up some of, like, the most atrocious felons and, like, criminals that we possibly can in order to do it. I was looking through this and, like,
a bunch of spies and a bunch of people guilty of espionage and the
yeah. Money launderers, hackers, Russian spies, murderers, FSB agents, colonels.
I don't know, we was looking it up the other day. Someone at work was like, aren't we just so happy that they're home? I'm like, what?
I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I'm glad they're home, but, like, what a failure, what a shit show in negotiation tactic is this? I'm not saying I would be any better, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't. But, I mean, someone's got to be able to do better than this.
Well, we also left one over there. Did you hear his, you should look, I forget his name.
Who did we end up leaving?
We left one. Her mother was at the tarmac and Joe Biden ignored her. And then commented to the reporter, she's 90 years old. His mother's been fighting for a long time. I can't even remember it. But she's been begging, and she feels he was glossed over. And even some of the reporters on the opinion pieces and Twitter spaces were like, yeah, this is kind of shady because we brought back a green card holder and we left the American citizen over there. Like, why?
But she's 90 years old.
The mother is over here. She gave a very poignant and direct.
Oh, but the prisoner's not.
No, the prisoner's not. It's her son that's over there.
Yeah, it's because, like, I mean, there might be something to that on the Russian side of things, Brad, the way I look at it. Like, one of these people was apparently someone that Putin had wanted to get back as part of the Brittany Griner prisoner swap, but the U.S. wasn't willing to budge on this guy with, I guess, all the other negotiations. So I can see how if Russia's hardballing that they wouldn't allow one of our guys off the hook either in this one. But, like, yeah, I mean, we're literally releasing people that are directly associated with and acting on behalf of the Russian government in exchange for innocent people.
When you release people that have a nickname called the Merchant of Death, we should probably reconsider some of these. And I'm all for, like, I want all Americans home. Like, personally, I would have sent in fucking all the SEALs, all the fucking Marine Corps, and I would have blown fucking Moscow up. I champion this. I say the same thing about Gaza. I would tear up Gaza. I would tear up Russia. for a military to go do it. And there is not a soldier, I know this firsthand, I can promise you this, there is not a soldier out there that would not sit there and say, let me go get my American citizen home. Black, white, it wouldn't make a difference. Male, female, whatever religion, whatever ethnicity you come from, it won't fucking matter. The rallying cry is always, there is an American there. They are desperate. They are in trouble. Let's go get him. And everybody's blood is pumped. Everybody is focused. And we want to lay waste to everybody else that gets in our way of getting that person out.
Yeah, man, remember Benghazi, Brad? Oh, that hurt me.
Yes. And those men, Jocko used to be on here, and for those of you, Pockets may remember, because she's old school like me.
Jocko used to be on Clubhouse.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine. He came on, we did a bunch of rooms together. So he would talk about this, and when they were deciding at the moment, and he was like, forget the book, forget all the fucking things, but he said there were Americans in need. He said they were really chomping at the bit. They got tired of the bureaucracy holding back, and all he wanted to do, and I'll give you his quote, the only thing in my head is, I want to kill all the motherfuckers that I can to get to my Americans. That's the only thing. Man, women, child, it don't fucking matter. Infants to elderly people, it won't fucking matter to men and women like me who say, there's an American in trouble. I don't care what anybody else is. It's not mean, it's not racist, it's not there. My goal is to get to an American. And his goal, what he said is, I would have laid waste to everybody and everything to go save them, to get there. He said he was trumping so hard, he was screaming, he was cursing, he wanted to shoot his own fucking one guy to that kept stopping. So just be aware.
Yeah, I hated that. I hated reading those emails, the constant, the constant requests, and oh man, like that's like, damn, how, who the hell?
Security force, for many of you that don't know, most of our embassies and ambassadors are protected by a very specialized, a very high functioning, very much hoorah motherfuckers. These are fucking, they will do everything they can to protect you inside that embassy. When you're running to an embassy and the whole country you're in is in turmoil, these guys are the ones you want to see at the post, because when you see these, there is nothing that is going to stop them from protecting you. But the Marine security forces have never lost a man. They've never lost one. They are the elite of the elite in terms of this. They should have actually been the ones guarding Trump. Like, honestly, they are far more effective, far better, far more aggressive, far more tactically aware than the Secret Service, in my opinion. If you'd have put those guys around Trump, nobody would have even been able to blow on that man's hair. The shininess from his orange skin wouldn't have been able to radiate to people. That's how tough these guys are. And it just, I wish they would have used them in Benghazi, and they were declined. Had they been there, that scenario would have been a whole different way. And the bodies that they would have stacked that day would have been as big as a border wall.
So I am so shocked. Given I have a lot of political friends, mostly political friends on Facebook, I still maintain a Facebook. I generally just go on to connect when we're doing our meetups or whatever. But anyway, I cannot believe the overwhelming attention that this Olympic Khalif fighter brought. I mean, it is just, my whole feed is just filled with this, and it's just crazy. And then I thought to myself, was this like because I'm surprised that most people are in support of Khalif. Like, it's just lots of support. I think a lot of the men have similar parents mentioned, let it happen, they're just like, this is what you wanted, so this is what you get. But I've seen this so much, and then I thought to myself, do you remember just a few, like before the Olympics started, there was like this whole trend of like boycott the Olympics, and because of the mocking of the Last Supper, and we talked about it in here for a little bit, but I think that it's interesting that, however, if it was overplayed or wasn't overplayed, the Karina, the Italian, she had come out with an apology. It's just like, I'm sorry, I overreacted. I should have, shook your hand, and I should have been more, diplomatic and everything. But she knew that she had lost, and it makes me think like, I don't know. It's tough. You think about all the different things that, like, was this a ploy was this like a marketing ploy to get more people distracted or get their attention back into the Olympics because of all of the attention they lost from the boycott? Was it overplayed? Was it, I thought first, for a little while, I was thinking maybe Karina, she was going to play her cards because you know who you're fighting before you fight them. And I was thinking maybe she thought, oh, if I go in there and I'm able to beat her, that's great. I'll be able to obviously win, and I'll be able to hold that. But knowing the circumstance, did she think about it, and premeditate, and it could have even been a subconscious thing where she felt weaker than she could have been. I don't know. It's very interesting, but I wonder if she played the cards of like the crying and that whole thing. Was it all an act?
It wasn't an act.
You don't think it was an act?
No, she trained her dad that was helping support her and get her into the boxing program, getting her into boxing, died I forget, less than a month before she got selected. So he wasn't even there. She was actually boxing for her father. It was a dream they had. She trained her whole life. She'll never get another shot at this. And in 48 seconds, she was done. She had to tap her arm out. The problem is that this individual, this is why it went so hard at Curious George, because he was in another room celebrating the fact of, oh, it's a guy. He identifies as a woman or whatever the bullshit is. And it's that same trope. And it's the same thing with the opening ceremony. If you look off from the center stage, the guy who is supposed to be portraying Jesus in the Last Supper, that guy is actually a convicted sex offender, which I find massively ironic. There you go. I may have to acquiesce the king's belief that there is a God at this point, because there's just way too much irony in this. But if you look to the left, left of the picture, it's a guy in his short shorts. He's got anything up. His nutsack's hanging out. Now it gets even interesting. Watch the video, and he's dancing around kids with his nutsack hanging out in front of the kids. So this is my issue with it. And that same fucking guy that was just in here screaming about how Trump is the rapist and I'm homophobic, was the same guy clapping for this, saying, oh, you guys are just homophobic and racist for being upset about it. And the Olympics are supposed to be a family event. There's a lot of children at the event. They use a lot of children in the event. And, you still have 16-year-old girls. Make no doubt about this. These are young female athletes, young male athletes. These are not, grown-up adults. These are 30-year-olds that can sit there, see something, and be like, oh, for fuck's sake, and walk away. These are kids, enjoying the first time they're away from home. This is their first experience. It should be inviting. It should be a competition. It should be badass. But it's diminished when you see this stuff and the controversy there. And when you actually look at what they're portraying, it's wrong. I'm not even a Christian, and I cringed. I was upset. I was angry. I felt terrible for Christians because it seems that it was okay to mock their religion, but God forbid you make a Muslim cartoon and then the people of France get shot up, or some other bullshit. So at the end of the day, I think honestly, when I hear people like Curious George sit there and advocate for stupid shit and then tell me about how I'm the wrong person, and I actually mean it. I really want the P word. I'm just saying there seems to be a connection and a problem that we have in America of allowing this. And personally, I want it to stop. I want to go back to the old way where the neighborhood men went out there and just beat the guy with a baseball bat if he fucked around with kids. Like that's the kind of level of where I'm at. I have 2 daughters. I'm an angry parent when I see this because I will forever be a parent. And a lot of parents are getting angrier and angrier at this, saying like, I don't want women like the poor Italian girl to go in there and fight a 6'1" genetically male guy that wants to identify on his passport as a female, get her punched in the fucking face. Like, I don't know what to tell you. What is it going to take for you that one of these men one day are going to snap a fucking woman's neck? They're going to kill a woman. They're in boxing, they're in wrestling, they're in these very hard sports, women's football, women's soccer. You're going to see the pain. You're going to see a girl die. And then I'm going to promise you the repercussions and the rebound is going to come and say, this is your problem. Like you'll have men that like King that say that. To some extent, it is women's problem because despite men like me saying, please don't do this, this is wrong, we got called homophobic, we got called everything else. And now what's going to end up happening is some young girl very, very, very soon is going to lose her life because people didn't want to listen. And I promise you that's coming. It's coming soon. Look at field hockey. Look at all these sports that we young, great women play in. And look at where these men are going into and trying to get some accolades and shit for whatever fucking kicks they have. And now while you have Curious Georges advocating that and then calling you homophobic because you have concerns and worries about some fucking 6'1" guy going into a women's boxing sport.
Hey, can you speak up a little bit? I'm taking a shit right now. Can you speak up just a little bit?
Or you got guys like that.
He's perfectly clear to me. I don't.
Yeah, you might want to get a new headset, Donald. Probably
Dominic, welcome back.
I was talking to one of my friends.
Was it a male?
No, it's a female.
Was it actually a female?
Yes.
How do you know?
She has a vagina and I think she has ovaries.
Did you grab her by the pussy?
No, because my name isn't Donald Trump. I don't sexually harass women.
Dominic, can you stop calling her for 1 second, bro? Just 1 second.
What am I doing it for, Dave?
I don't know. I think you just do it because you want to be white. It is what it is.
How? What does it have to do with being white?
I think that because you were born darker than your other family members, that you missed out on whiteness, so you try to make up for it by cooning out.
So can you find a way that I'm cooling out?
Well, you cooning out by platforming yourself, by embarrassing black people.
In what way? You're not being specific at all. You're just saying vague things.
Are you opening up your mouth and saying things that doesn't represent blackness by you making yourself seem like a purple young blackness?
He was destined to do this. This is destination to be cool. It is what it is.
You know what? I think God do design a coon, and it is what it is, man. But not all coons are made equal. I'll tell you that.
It's a good thing I don't believe in God.
Exactly. You think you're doing it on your own free will, but you're a coon by choice.
What do you think you are, Nate?
Oh, really, bro? What you wearing?
Oh, you think so? You think so?
That's wrong. My legs, man. you talking about scratching the 8 ball?
You scratch
No, it's Feedback Fridays. And a lot of people forget twice. They do a scratch on it twice. But hey, listen, I just want to talk about Feedback Fridays. I think we often forget what the day represents. Today is the day of feedbacks. I want to give a shout out and a feedback to Monica. Monica, when I first met you, people often told me that, hey, she isn't allowed to be in this type of rooms. She shouldn't be here with these type of people. But I tell you this, I don't know what it was, but the white belts are us. I don't know. Every time I get someone in this room, they often talk about Monica and how much that white belts of us made them listen to Monica and understand her perspective and understand her for an individual just like anyone else. Because listen, the hate was crazy. But I want to say this, Monica, I appreciate you. I appreciate you bringing your talents to White Belts Are Us. And listen, you bring conversations, you bring intellectual conversations at best too. And you're like a bag of knowledge. I often thought that Cora was a representation of white women, but you proved me wrong, Monica. You proved me wrong. And if I could just, well, and if I could just like deliver flowers to you, not virtually, but physical flowers, Monica. Listen, I will bestow upon you the most flowers I said because you are a gem that needs to be cherished. And I appreciate you because you appreciate me. Right?
For the record, he only had one drink, okay? For the
I
record.
was gonna say Nathan
Yes.
is right now.
Only
is
one beer. Yes.
words. I wanted you to say shit about me slurring my words.
It was.
As
it
I
was
slur my
A Goose Island stout or a
Hold
dragon
on, hold on.
stout?
It was one beer, and he didn't even finish the whole beer. That's all.
No, did you give him like a dragon?
It was a. No. No, drink a bucket. 2 buckets, 2 rum and cokes.
Hi, my name is Books. I'd like to be put in the queue if I might. I appreciate this one. I haven't been here before, but I also appreciate Monica. And I really appreciate Nathan because he's cultivating rooms of great intelligence. I have been listening devoutly for many months, maybe a year now.
way too loud for me.
That's my boy, that's John. I want to give another shout out. I want to give another shout out to my girl, the one and only B Masters. Listen, when B Masters came into this room, she made a statement. She said, listen, this is my people, this is my room, and I made it clear in another room that's very popular that you guys don't allow free speech. You guys don't allow people to be themselves. Right? And she said this, and that resonated in my heart. You know what I mean? And I appreciate B-Master for B-Master. B-Master, thank you.
Once again, I want to avoid all allegations. I want to avoid all allegations. He only had one beer. For the record, I want to get blamed for this. Whatever was in the food has nothing to do with it. But he had.
I just want to know, when is Chillism going to Chatter? Is Chillism on Chatter yet? Because I'm on Chatter now.
I don't Whatever was in the food, I had nothing to do with it. Just for the record.
I want to give another shout out on my Feedback Fridays. It's definitely some feedback. Listen, one person always said this, and they said this in the past. They said, when it comes to love, I'm a loving person. And I always get hate when I tell black people that I love them because they often don't believe me. And that right there is the person who isn't in the room tomorrow. And I thank God the Father isn't in the room. So
is not love.
I'm gonna say this, man. Sometimes love make you do things that you don't want to do, and sometimes love always has like this vindictive motives. Only when you don't receive the type of love you want. That's all I think.
Knowledge not alone takes a matter.
I'm trying to tell you guys, I'm responsible for the Heineken, yes. Whatever.
Not over police when in Oakland, they the cop sitting in my room in a trauma told me that they only had 35 cops on from 11 to 11 shift was 30.
Well, you can thank your Democratic leaders in Oakland. Oakland is run by Marxist, communist, socialist terrorists. The Democrats run that shithole. It's called Oakland. It's run by Democrats. The Democrats that have run that ground to shit. That city is a pile of shit because of Democrats. No, make no mistake.
I put him in the audience. That's that guy. He come in with a different name all the time with that screaming and shit. No.
And I see Miss Edna on and Dr. Keisha, everybody, our Houston people. I mean, it's just Texas people. We have a very tough environment here. We've got to get out. Because I mean, I don't know if you're going. I don't know if you can hear me because I've been. You all have been going in and out. So I hope the signal's okay. But we have we're in a state where we're giving back Medicaid dollars. This is something that every state gets from the federal government, and they send it back. It's just crazy, and so we've got to make change. My dad has ALS now, and so from running a marathon to running marathons at the start. You see things from a different perspective as it pertains to being physically challenged, disabled, as some may refer to it. And so, just from, him being excited to go in and walk in and do his ballots, they have done their mail-in ballots. And one time I remember that when they didn't sign up for the mail-in ballots, that he didn't want to go to the curb just because, when you're in the wheelchair or you're having to wait and you don't know how long you have to wait for somebody to come out there and help you. That was something that he was concerned about, because and just having the action of doing that. So we really have to make it easier, and I don't know if it's, if it's, I don't know how, I think that's one of the things that we're going to definitely have to look at in this election, and looking at the population and where it is, because in some areas we're going to need more than one person that's going to be able to come out and check and do, register them, not register them, but sign them in for voting at the curb, so that they're not going to have to wait excessively. So, given the situation, given their conditions. So that's all I have to say. I always enjoy the conversation. I always learn something, your perspectives from different areas, and it's hard. And for those of you who, as you were describing yourselves, I'm Marina. My background is public relations. I have a green background. I'm a multicultural woman with.
Oh, we lost you, Marina. She may have gotten a call. I'm gonna mute her. And thank you, Marina. Yeah, she's on the phone. Off to you, Scotty. And then back to Marina if she's available.
Oh, sure. I just had, just in terms of this evening, what is the call? Is there a call that we're waiting for tonight?
Oh, we've been listening to. We've been listening to for, what, an hour? Yeah.
Right, the disabled voters call.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if that was still going on. Okay.
So we've been playing it. So I actually just came in. We played it for the first 30 minutes. So what's happening is they have technical difficulties, and then they're doing breaks for them. So we're doing it in between. So they've been having an issue with the system. So they were like in the middle of a pause because they wanted to make sure that everyone could hear and see and be able to participate. That's what they were.
Okay,
Welcome
got
to
it. Got it.
Yeah.
I have I'll have a back channel message for you just because I'm juggling a bunch of things. I don't want to hold up the room.
No worries. And you guys, everything we're seeing updates. I got some good clips as well, but I wanted to give space for this. If anyone has any insight or any information on facts on disabled voters, access, history, tips, all of that, it's greatly appreciated in the conversation. I think I saw Briar and Mike. Off to you.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Keisha. So we all have, being a human gives us pretty complex identities, and some parts are simple and some parts are complex, but I rarely talk about it, but I actually have multiple disabilities. Some are genetic, I was just born with, and recently I've been injured, so I now have a second disability. And it's funny because I never thought of myself as somebody who was disabled. It was actually a doctor, so shout out to the doctors who brought this up with me and talked about how I was dealing with it and handling it, and it was really interesting to think about that and think about that as an identity. That I echoed what somebody said earlier about it's complicated to think that the phrasing like anybody could be disabled, because that implies if you couldn't share that identity, then it might not matter. You might not be able to show empathy for it. And I strongly agree with the phrasing of if there's an injustice for one, which I said on the call, it's an injustice for everybody. And I'd like to live in a society where we look at everybody, especially those who are struggling, because we all do know what it is to struggle. We've all had some struggle in our life, even if it's more or less so than somebody else. And I'd like to live in a world where we look at those people that are struggling and without question want to uplift them. That's frankly one of the reasons why I really support Harris is throw all the policies out and everything else as if they didn't matter. The fact that there's somebody out there that just seems to be willing to show empathy to the people that are struggling versus trying to give more to the people that are succeeding. For me, that's one of my two key issues along with healthcare. And I think those relate very strongly. Obviously, doctors know this firsthand. So it's wonderful to see this. And I'm going to be honest, dealing with disability, one of the things that most of my life I've thought of somebody who supports people with disability as a teacher. And I think one thing that and we will make kind of a confession, I guess. I found myself being challenged to listen to the people that speak in different ways and different patterns. But like yourself, it was really elucidating for me because I never thought of describing my WES or my PTR or these kind of facts about myself. I've never thought of them, and some of my closest friends on this app are blind or visually impaired. So, I'm thinking of all these mistakes I made along the way, and I think that's something that I'm going to have to figure out, how to handle well along with everybody else. But I just love that this is a group that's getting attention, and it's a sizable group, and sadly sometimes in politics we only think about things if there's enough people that it could sway an election, which is sad but true. And this is a group that's big enough to do that, but I don't think that should be the reason why we support those that are disabled. And I like that it's another group in this coalition, and you can see how much this is something that's growing to a lot of different people, and I think that's beautiful. And I just thought it was really cool, and I legitimately learned a lot just listening in. So just wanted to give that a shout out.
Thank you. And we support you. Thank you for being
Dr.
transparent
Keisha, can
as
I
well.
just comment really quickly? And then I added you, so please follow me back. And I just want to tell you, don't be afraid to, you don't have to disclose your disability because I don't all the time. But I just want to tell you, don't be afraid to, talk about your disability and share your story with other people, because on Clubhouse I was afraid to do for so long because I thought that people didn't want to hear what I have to say, but some of my closest friends are on this app, and are non-sighted and are non-disabled and disabled. And so I just want to tell you, man, keep sharing your story, because there's somebody out there that needs to hear what you have to say. And so, yeah, I followed you, so I'll be back.
I gave you the follow back. Thanks a lot, and I think I've seen you in some rooms. I hope we get to talk more in the future. So thanks for that share, and I'll give that some thought too. I don't mind disclosing kind of some of the stuff I'm going through. So you're right, that is probably a good call. It's something as I'm learning and growing as a person. So thanks for sharing.
Follow me on Instagram and stuff as well, and we'll connect offline.
And
I like 2 words
Yes,
to
I'll
that.
Sonia and then Julia. Yes.
Because I just think to follow along with what Greer was saying, I think we can all be more compassionate, and I think when your abilities are challenged, I think it pushes you in a different place. Like, I can so relate to that, having had an injury unexpectedly like 2 years ago, and just literally being able to walk and get around, and living in a place like New York, for example, and realizing how many places don't have elevators, how many places don't have escalators, and how many places don't even have a bench for you to like sit and rest a little bit when you're tired. And I think as a society, especially in this country, because I've traveled to places like Sweden, for example, where there's a bench in the supermarket, and I remember thinking, wow, like what a novel concept. But I think as a people, we can all be more aware and more conscious when we do things, whether it's having places that have ramps or making sure that maybe this thing is not 4 flights up and has an escalator. And I've seen that in so many places where a lot of times the thought doesn't even come up, because I think when you have all your abilities, it's not something that you think about. And even for me, like, that's something that I've become so much more aware of. And I think as a collective, like I said in the beginning, we can all be more aware and compassionate. So sometimes it's not necessarily about telling your business, but I think it's also about helping us to have a wider scope. That's it.
Thank you, Sonia. And, I think that compassion, starts with listening and understanding. A lot of times we think we hear. I remember this conversation where several people, including Andrew, and he shared this, where we're like, listen, this is not accessible to us. And the people are like, yeah, it is accessible. And it's like, listen, it's not accessible to us. And I think sometimes we think that we're being open and we're understanding, and we're not listening. It's okay to not know about a group or their struggles, but sometimes just sitting back and listening. And I think that's what this race is going to be different, is we do need to listen to, okay, we think, oh, it's just like get the vote out. Where you're telling it to a group of people that may have anxiety. They don't want to have a panic attack when they get to the voting thing. Certain sounds, and I know this from personal experience, again, dealing with this with family members, certain sounds or noises. They don't want to have an attack or an episode, and then they be misconstrued because they look a certain way as being, angry or aggressive. So all of those things are barriers, and how can we make those barriers better? How can we be aware of them, do what we can do, and see that the system is also strategically set up to push them away with those barriers. So thank you for that, Sonia. I think it was, who had unmiked? Y'all, sorry, Gen X is
Julia Gulia, don't want to make a fool of you.
Okay, Julia, then Ramona.
Hi, everyone. Today's call, I was in the background because it was a very sensitive topic for me, and it felt really good. I was overwhelmed with joy, is what I would say. But also, I was cringed because I didn't know what would become of the call. But thankfully, like Dr. Keisha, many people listen to react. They don't listen to respond. So I gave myself permission to just listen to respond. Why, Julia? I'm an auditory learner. When I got to high school, So like everyone in my family, they don't have to study. This one right here, Juju, I had to study, probably read things 2-3 times. I used to read the end of the book so then I could read the beginning of the book because I need to know what's going to happen at the end. And I would go to high school, and my high school principal taught 2 courses. And afterwards, he said, "Has anyone else told you about dyslexia?" And I said, "No." And I did research on dyslexia, and I cried because I realized that I had a lot of the mentions. I would then get, I went to 2 different facilities to get tested, and in fact, I do have dyslexia. But I didn't know dyslexia was a disability. I always told people that dyslexia was my superpower. It allows me to see things in a different way. I analyze things in a different way. So when you read a book, the way that one would start reading the book to gain understanding, I don't read it that way. But guess what? I still read. So I've learned that even in the term disability, I think people get crippled by the word disability. There's certain things that people definitely can't do, but there's other things that people can do that the average person cannot do. And that is what I think on, and I would hope that anyone on this call would find a level of empathy to recognize that when people hear things and it makes them moody or cranky, the sensory issue, and they start acting a particular way, they have no way of controlling it. Trust me, no one wants to be the center of attention in an uncomfortable situation. We don't want to be uncomfortable. And we are cognizant of other people, and that's why people who have dyslexia, sensory issues, they tend to retreat. I'm not one of those people. I do love being in the mix in crowds of people, but then there's times that I need solace because I need to refill my cup. Because when I get overstimulated, sometimes I tend to crawl under a rock myself. But I recognize it's because my impulses can't allow but so much action to take place. When we're thinking of voting for someone like Madam Kamala Harris, our future first woman president, she's going to be able to put these things into place and put things into place as early childhood intervention services. My mom was a teacher, but there's certain things that my mom didn't get because my mom was working full time. My mom and my dad, they're awesome people. And I always had the A's and B's, but the way that I got my A's and B's hadn't to get picked up by the average teacher. It took all the way to the 9th grade to discover that I had dyslexia. My quality of life of how I viewed education would have been so different. Because while people had fun going to school, I didn't have fun all the time going to school. Because I had to really work hard to get those grades. And I wanted to do well. There's so many other people like me, even in adulthood, that are having to work twice as hard, not recognizing that they also too may be dyslexia issues or this, that, and the third. And they're told, that's how that person is. Let them go. That's because there's not enough funding in order to support these kind of individuals. And even when some of these individuals are in fact diagnosed with having such thing, there's nothing accessible to them, whether it be education, accommodation of services. If a person who has dyslexia don't know that they have dyslexia and need to go to the voting polls, and they're not on a clubhouse to learn what their rights are or what the candidates could offer, that individual may be in that voting booth for 45 minutes, an hour. Behind them is going to yell and be upset, right? And because we don't know, we're very unaware. We're so used to wanting to satisfy ourselves and not recognize that our fellow person, average person, may have a disability like mine. I've managed to get a master's degree. I'm returning back to school and changing careers, but that's because I was given the tools in order to do that. I even make it fun of myself. I'm like, hey guys, I'm having a dyslexia. I recognize that I'm not getting something, and I stop myself, And I give myself the power to speak it out loud so that other individuals could know that they need their, but I can try to understand something. I'm like, I'm not trying to be an a-hole. I just need to understand. Can I rephrase the question? I don't think you're answering my, that's not what I still don't get it. So I make sure that I speak up for myself and say, look, I'm not able to break things down the way that you can or the average person can. There's certain things I will get instantaneously. There's other things I will not. But what I will not allow someone to do is to make me feel less than or other than because of the fact that I'm not able to think the way you think. So I will always speak up for those who are less fortunate. I will always speak up for those who may not get it and provide compassion and provide them the space to say that it's okay because we all have rights to do so. And we can all learn from each other. Sometimes you have to pause for the greater cause. So I hope that this call and all of the other calls that we've had are so layered that everyone has something. But collectively, we can have a greater thing. And that's having our future Madam Kamala Harris as President of the United States. And on that, I yield. I love you all.
We love you, Julia. We're with you. I appreciate your story and being transparent and any of that. Something that's happening on the call, y'all, is they were talking about, so remember we talked about this thread, a lot of fears of different groups feeling disenfranchised and then what Project 2025 could yield. They were talking about how in dictatorships and then actually what could happen with Project 2025 is the first group to be affected from it is going to be those with disabilities or disenfranchised. And I agree with that. One of the disabled was afraid if Project 2025 went into effect, they would lose the Disability Act, ADA. They would lose the healthcare access, already the things they're struggling to get right. They would lose with it. So that's really, truly, it's not just a Black woman thing, though it's amazing. But there are true fears with this group. So I'm going to go quickly in the call and allow others to share, because Julie had such a beautiful share. We'll get back to the shares, but we'll get back to the call real quick. As I try to attempt to turn it up. So something interesting happened. All of the volume buttons went away. So, okay, here you go. Can you guys hear it or no?
No.
Okay, Ramona, we'll go to you, and then I'm gonna, for a quick, I'm trying to turn the sound up, but I'm having a button issue. It's very weird. I've never seen, okay, I think I got it. But every time I hit the button, go ahead, Ramona. But I'm gonna turn the volume up slowly in the background. Go ahead and speak.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Earlier I did fail to describe myself just in case there's anybody on the call. I am a Caucasian woman. I am blind. I'm 47. I think the PCR that I've got up now is of me and a dolphin. I went swimming with dolphins this summer. That was awesome. But I think another thing that I don't remember is how we interact with each other, how people interact with people with disabilities. As a blind individual, I lost my sight due to domestic violence when I was very small and ended up in foster care for 13 years. And went through all the joys of foster care for kids to be. And so I went through that and became an adult, and I had to go through more eye surgeries. When I was 26, I started having eye surgeries. I had eye surgeries for 4 years. I had 16 of them because, as we've mentioned before, the great state of Texas told me as long as there's a surgical solution, I had to try it. before I got approved for disability. It took me 5.5 years, 16 eye surgeries, and finally I got approved. And I had a daughter at that time, and the whole time that I was raising her, I think one of the major fears that I had was someone's going to show up, because I'm a single mom, and take my kid away from me because I'm blind. And I know people say that might sound ridiculous, but as an advocate, I have worked with people all over the place that have lost their children due to their disabilities, just because they were disabled. Not because they did anything wrong, not because their kid got hurt, not because, just because they were disabled. They couldn't possibly be appropriate parents if they have a disability, which is really a ridiculous claim. I've met so many people that are disabled that have been fantastic parents and have very good children. Their outcomes with their children are very good. So, it's hard to know what someone else is going through unless you're going through it too. And I found one of the obstacles in voting is that you have overly helpful people that aren't listening. They're just trying to shuffle you through. So therefore they feel they have the right to reach out and put their hands on you, and drag you, pull you, whatever. I actually had a lady that came up to me and grabbed my cane and started tapping my cane forward. And I'm a weird person, man. I'll say things just to get your attention because people don't listen. I walked into a hotel in the foyer looking for the registration desk, so I'm listening to what's going on around me. I'm mind mapping what's going on in my surroundings. And I'm just about there, and I hear this voice that goes, "I'll help you." And I'm going, "Oh, dear God, please don't let her be talking to me. Don't let her be talking to me." Oh, yeah, she was talking to me. This lady puts her arm around me, then she grabs my cane and starts tapping me forward. And I'm like, "Ma'am, I'm okay. Thank you. Please, ma'am. No, ma'am." And finally, I'm like, "Ma'am, I need to ask you a question." And she says, "What?" And I'm like, "If I were a man in the foyer with an erection, would you grab it just because it was sticking out?" And she's like, "No." And I'm like, "Will you have your hand on this?" And so she lets go. And I'm like, "Thank you." Came like that ever again. Thank you very much. Okay. And so it's sad that you have to go to that extreme to get people's attention. So they can't just listen to you like a regular person. They can't talk to you and ask you what you'd like to eat. They'd rather ask your neighbor, "What would your friend like to eat?" Well, your friend has a mouth and your friend can speak. So speak to me. Don't speak to the person next to me. If I ask for help, that's fine. But if I tell you I'm okay, please respect that and don't think that I'm being a butthole about it. I'm not. I don't like people putting their hands on me because it scares me. I can't see you. I don't know what your intentions are. You could be whisking me off to, Margaritaville for all I know. So, there's different ways that people live and require a certain amount of respect because you don't just walk up to another person. If they were sighted, just walk up to them and grab them. "Hey, let me take you to where you're going," even if that's not where you're going. So it sounds like our volume's starting to get better. I just want you guys to know that, just because people have a physical or a psychological infirmity doesn't mean that they aren't capable of thinking for themselves and speaking for themselves. And when they do, please listen. So I'll land for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramona. I'm glad we heard your story. I'm so sorry that happened to you and that's how you lost your vision. But I think, and I wonder when we talk about voting and going to the polls, I wonder if we're going to have competent people at the polls to deal with this. I know people want to share real quick, but the call is ending soon, so if I can just turn up the volume on the call. There's 3 different names. They have sign language names for Kamala, for Black, Indian, and for was a woman, and it's like a Lotus Factor. But I think they're closing. I'm gonna turn it up just quickly, and then we'll go to Dr. Sharon.
City and county. So you wanna check within your area to see what's going on so that you can have all the support you need to get your vote in there. Okay?
Amazing. Thank you so much. The planning committee wants to thank again Jotika Edie, Holly Holiday, Chantel, and Win with Black Women again for hosting this link and helping us so much with this movement. We want to thank the community and the disability community for showing up. I want to give this also to the planning community. You want to highlight other the Democratic Party to, in your city and your town, your local Democratic Party, volunteer on your own, join the YDA Disability Caucus. You can check the link in our bio Linktree. We've been sharing all the links in the chat. We will also send up a follow email tomorrow. This is our inaugural. There will be many more. Again, like I said, we are continuing to learn. We are continuing to grow. Thank you for your patience. This is just one of many, many, many things. I'm going to pass it over.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to all of the DEF members that were on this call. I know that we had some technical difficulties, and I apologize for that. We are working really hard to understand, with it being so many people in the chat and so many questions and so many different moving parts with the panels and all of that, and just trying to make sure that everyone is pinned and everyone can see everyone and that our captions and everything are accessible. So I just want to apologize to Miss Yvonne and Mr. Ricky for not having this as accessible as we would have hoped. We thought we were doing all the things. We got multiple interpreters. Everybody's certified. We have card, but experience some of those things that are challenges, which make for great feedback. So please, you can send us emails. You can contact me directly on Instagram at Zabora G, or you can also email us at info@disabledvotersforharris.com, or you can go to our website, and it's if you want to contact us through there, you can also do that. I just want to make sure you know that we value deaf people and we value accessibility, and we really attempted to give you all that we could with having CART and having certified interpreters, but things didn't just go work the way we wanted. But nonetheless, don't forget to donate. Don't forget that we love y'all. I love y'all. And I am so excited for our next call. I look forward to having Miss Yvonne back and Mr. Ricky back and Tatiana back and everybody back. This was such an awesome thing. Don't forget to donate. Come on, keep that energy up. I know everyone's tired.
Absolutely.
Come on, y'all. We got to go out how we can.
Listen. We are doing something that is really, really important. You may have heard me say it earlier if you tuned into our live, but we haven't had this a large amount of folks together since Capitol Crawl, and that was March 1990. We were able to get a little over 500 plus really around 600, which is fantastic. Capitol Crawl had 1,000. We'll be doing another call, and we'll be making sure that we continually work on the accessibility of the space. Moving forward, we're only going to have one panel, so it's effective for what our Bindi Fund bodies will do to us. So we're going to keep it accessible with the more we learn about the Harris administration, because we are tied to the campaign. That keeps coming up in the chat. We will let you know any ways in which we're continually partner with them to make sure events are accessible, or we're there, we're part of the conversation. We'll keep you updated with that. Again, if you want to be part of the committee with your intersectionality, send us your information. All the chats, the link for this donation link is in the links for Instagram as well as the website. There's also a link tree there that already has some voting resources that are available to you. You have to know that this is something that happened in less than 5 days, and we are incredibly appreciative the Harris campaign, Joteka Eddy with Win with Black Women, for all of the folks who have been championing for us to get together. But this only works if you make it work, because again, we're volunteering for time. So I want everyone to tweet, to text, to call, to put something into stories, whatever. You don't tweet anymore, you exit, you thread it, whatever you gotta do. Let folks know that we came together. Let them know that we are here for you. Let them know that we're gonna do it again. And let them know that we have power.
So some of the things in the chat, they did say that people were having some accessibility issues. They're going to do that, be better at making sure it's more accessible. They had 2 interpreters on. There were some issues with people being able to get their sound out. And people also had requested, this is a good one, requested Braille material and other material on Kamala Harris so they could know more about her and what she stands for. So some things. Off to you, Dr. Sharon, whoever else wants to speak.
Thank you so much to Ramona for sharing your story. I had I got off the flight last Wednesday. I came in at Bush Airport, and I had to take the train from one terminal to the next to get my bag. So when I got off the train,
Dr. Sharon, get a little bit closer to the mic, because there's a little bit more background than before. Or were you on your...
I'm driving.
No worries.
I'll come back.
That's okay.
I'm going to be close to you. You sure?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Are you guys okay with it? Is a lot? I know some people may be a lot of background for this. Is everyone okay with it? Or
I'll come back.
are you sure? Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to be clear on when you speak. Anyone else? Want to share? Hey, Jocelyn. Hey, Dr. Francine, Starfurry, Edna, Rick. Everyone's quiet. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a very sentimental call today and personal. So yeah, that's all.
Hey, Dr. Keisha, I was gonna say, yeah, it's again so fascinating to not be a part of a specific group and listen into something that's very intimate and very specific to them, and it really opens you up just to be more empathetic to their specific situation. And Ramona, your share was just so wonderful. And again, like hearing these stories and understanding these situations makes you understand how important it is to support the people that are trying to support us as well. And by that, I also mean like Kamala and the Democratic Party. And we see such a stark difference of what's going on. And I would also add this, and I probably mentioned this before, such a great documentary that I think Obama's film production company, I think one of their first documentaries they ever did was called Crip Camp, which was nominated for an Oscar for a documentary. And it was about a group of kids. It was actually a camp up in upstate New York, just like a regular camp that was for kids with disabilities, different types of disabilities. And this was in the 70s. And it was basically like, run by like a bunch of like hippies and Jews and others. And it was just like a regular camp. And what they used to do with people with disabilities, they used to put them in asylums. They used to kind of put them away out of, not give them like kind of like normal like experiences. And what this camp did is that the parents would send the kids up there and they would have a regular camp, but they would try to make it a regular camp experience for every kid that was there, whether they were in a wheelchair, whether they had other disabilities. And it fueled them. I don't want to give out any spoilers, but it's going to be a spoiler anyway. It was such a beautiful thing to witness how much it meant for these kids to be treated normally, to be able to go to a regular camp, to be able to like do things. And the spoiler here is that it motivated so many of these kids who eventually grew into adults, who eventually became activists, who eventually became the ones responsible for making the ADA happen. And it's an amazing story. And I hope everybody can, if you haven't seen it, to please see Crip Camp. It was so beautiful. And in my bones, I'm a camp person anyway, and a lot of people here may know that. But this was such a profound thing to watch and to see all the struggles, but to see the absolute joy that came out of this experience and how it really changed the game for a lot of people with disabilities. And then, of course, we know what happened with the ADA and how that was transformational for so many people. So,
ooh, put that in the chat so we can watch that movie. And Ramona said that she works for the Centers for Independent Living, and that came from the people who created the Crip Camp. So I love that. Thank you for that, Scotty. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with your sentiment on everything. And this discussion, seriously, it's like listening in, but at the same time as being a parent of it. There's parts where you want to be inclusive, of course, and then it's also nice to have those groups where you talk. I'm part of a couple of groups on Facebook, and I love hearing the stories from other mothers going through the same thing I'm going through. And you just realize you're really not alone. You're really not alone at all. I know Dr. Sharon wants to share. I'm doing a musical selection before we go to the next part, and then anybody else that wants to share still can. And welcome, Thomas. Okay, someone speaking next. Hi, Joel. We're just doing a musical selection, and you can speak next. All right, so it's been a good conversation. Dr. Sharon, I want to check on you real quick because I know you were trying to speak. Have you made it to a destination that you can speak? All right, well, tap on your mic or send me a text message when you can. Off to you, Joella.
Yes, thank you for having me up. So listening to this latest call actually has me realizing as a full-time caregiver to both my parents that their voting status in a way has changed because, you can be disabled. I mean, some people can be born disabled, but you can become disabled, medically, through a medical condition or health condition, which is our case. And this year alone, I mean, just last week, my mother has now gotten a wheelchair, and she was moving from being able-bodied, walking. Now she's using a wheelchair, and my dad, is on hospice, but not hospice because he's passing away anytime soon, but because as a full-time caregiver and sole caregiver to both of them, I'm, needing, an aide to come into the home every day. And sitting here listening to the speakers, I'm realizing, wow, I'm going to have to call the county and actually get a mail, like do a mail-in ballot, because over the years, seeing my parents, you know, when they were of better health, you know, they were able to walk into a polling booth or station, and then gradually it was, you know, they had people come out to the car, and now, you know, their health has kind of worsened. It's making me realize, like, wow, I'm going to have to call the county and get this done very early so they can cast their vote. Unfortunately, my mom, I think it was May of this year, because, you know, Texas always has these local elections, and she had just come out of the hospital and going to rehab, and in rehab, you know, she didn't have the opportunity to vote. And it made me think, like, how come they don't supply, like, polling people to come to, like, nursing homes and hospitals? You know, that's something to think about. And I've also, as someone who worked polls in the past, you know, when Obama was running, I don't ever recall seeing, like, a sign language interpreter at a polling station, ever. Or seeing many people in wheelchairs, like, casting their ballot. So that's just something to think about. You know, I just came to realization that, yeah, you know, kind of falling to the same, you know, this category of being disabled, and how are we going to get both my parents, who have predominantly voted in every election except for the last local, because my dad was in the hospital, you know, to reach as many voters as possible. And yeah.
Thank you, Joella. You know, last time when we were speaking over on Canteen and you shared your story, I was just thinking how strong you were having to deal with that with both parents. And then listen to this conversation, you realize that they now could vote differently and hopefully be more accessible. But, you know, Edna's here, and Edna has been talking and been really active in the whole voting process in Texas for a long time. So I don't know if you have any words or tips for her to navigate this, Edna, if you're there. And welcome to everyone. Listen, these conversations are for all of us. We really are for quote Harris. We want to sit and talk in these rooms. But if we've got to be about action, not just getting ourselves to vote and our family, but those who don't have the abilities that we depend on, that are part of our lives or that are not, that we also get the information to gather to help them. We're strength in numbers. Go ahead, Ed.
I am sorry. I actually kind of left for a minute there. What was the question that was
So Joella's in Texas, and she has now two parents that before were not, but now are considered disabled, and that she can do the mail-in ballots. So
yes.
Yeah.
That's
so this would be
great.
a first time though. So this is they were not disabled before.
Oh, okay, good. I'll put my, you know, I will, if she'd like to definitely give me I'll send my email if she, you know, if she wants to talk further about that. I am sorry. I am still grieving behind the loss of Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, which is a good friend, and we put her to rest today. So I'm a little out of it. But what she needs to do, and it's very important that you really, when you get that ballot, that you look at everything on there, because if it's something that's not, if you got to put your date of birth on there, you got to make sure that it's signed correctly, sealed, processed, and that's how a lot of times those ballots actually were rejected, because they may have left off just one thing off of it. So when you get it, make sure that you read it completely, follow the instructions. They give you the instructions, but sometimes you just forget something. You know, you might forget to put that last 4 digits, you know, they say of your so I think it's driving license number. I got to get back into it because I'm actually going and doing some of this with training with the seniors now to make sure that they get it. The good thing about it is that you request it, because what we found out, a lot of the seniors, it used to be that they didn't have to request these ballots. It will automatically come to them. But what has happened now, they've changed that. So if you don't call and request it, you don't receive one. So we lost out on a lot of votes the last election because they were waiting for the ballot to come and it never showed up. So just really, if you have any questions on it right now, Tanisha Husted, who is our county clerk, is really doing some great work in coming out to the communities and things and doing trainings right now to make sure that people understand exactly what they need to do. They're signing up voter deputies. If anybody wants to volunteer to be a voter deputy, they're doing that as well. So just read everything with a fine tooth, make sure everything, and make sure, next thing is make sure when you get ready to mail that ballot, it's important to know what the cost of that postage is. Because what they found out one year, there was not enough postage. People put one stamp on there and it wasn't enough because it was like a 3-page ballot. So you want to make sure that you find out the cost of that postage when you put on there. A lot of times my seniors, I usually go out and buy stamps for my seniors and give to them because a lot of times they don't even have stamps to put on them. So we just need to make sure that process, that they do it. So if you have any questions, I'll put my email in the chat. Feel free to give me a shout out.
Thank you so much. Yes, and thank you so much. And just a quick question for you. Those who have to, who are going to be voting by mail, can they early vote as well?
Yes.
Okay, good.
But they got, now here's another thing too with that. I mean, Becca, you'll get that ballot early enough to get it in. One of the things you don't want to do, and this is what happened to some seniors, they decided they wanted to do the mail-in ballot, and then they decided at the last minute they wanted to go to the poll. They didn't want to mail it in. If you do that, you have to take that mail-in ballot with you to the poll because they need to take it out of the system that you were scheduled to mail in. Otherwise, they're not going to let you vote. They'll let you do a provisional ballot, but you don't want to do that. So if some of the seniors decide they want to go to the poll and they receive the mail-in ballot, take that mail-in ballot with you to the poll.
Thank you. This is great information.
That's good information, Edna. Thank you. And condolences to you. We're here in Houston too, and it's just so hard. The amazing things that she's done for our community and beyond.
Yeah, it was very, but you know what? The good part about it was when you see a giant, a woman, a black woman that has did so much. I mean, just went through barriers that it just makes you feel really good. So in the end, all my tears was joy. To just know that she was a black woman that did not stop, was a fighter, did not let anybody stop her. And when our vice president came out and spoke about her, how she had impacted her life, it was just phenomenal. It was just beautiful. So I am fired up and ready to get out here. I do it all the time anyway, so it's nothing new for me. But I am fired up to really get our people, get our seniors, because it'd be surprising to know that a lot of our seniors don't vote either. So, a lot of times they'll say they want to say the young people don't vote, but that's not true. The seniors don't vote either. And so I'm really going to get out there and start talking to them because that is no excuse for a senior not to vote.
Thank you, Edwin. Dr. Sharon, are you back? Paging Dr. Sharon?
I'm in a noisy spot.
Yeah, that mic is worse, Dr. Sharon. Anyone else want to speak before we move on about the call we had today? Or anything else? Maybe updates, because we're moving to updates. Dr. Nikki Thomas is in the house. Star Furry, did you want to speak? We have not met you. Welcome. You have to go to the bottom of your screen and hit the mic to unmic.
Hi, good evening. I'm in DC. It's storming. Give me 5 minutes. I'll come back. And I'm a disabled U.S. Army veteran. Just give me 1 second.
Ooh, we'd love to hear from you. Okay, take your time. Anytime you want to come in, hold on your profile pic until the emojis come up and just hit on any emoji or the hand emoji and we'll know that you want to speak. Or unmic. Welcome, welcome. Anybody else? Hey, Dr. Francine, anything to share? It's been a star-filled week. Finally getting the votes she needed to move on. We know she's a Democratic nominee. It's exciting. Waiting for Tuesday or this weekend to find out who the VP pick is. She has secured a huge amount of money, which we talked about yesterday.
Dr. Paige and Dr. Keisha. Hey, how you doing? Once again, thanks for putting these rooms on. I honestly, to tell you the truth, this is one of those things where I just kind of like want to stay back and I want to listen. You know, you're getting an insight to a world that some people take for granted, and some people, you know, just absolutely disrespect. I honestly, to tell you the truth, I think it's one of Donald Trump's nephews is writing a book. And they had, in the book, there's an insert where he was talking about his uncle who was severely disabled. And the insurance policy that they all belong to, because, you know, Trump drained at like a faucet. He was saying, hey, we need more money for his health care and his benefits. And Donald Trump literally stated, like, why don't you just let him die and you can come over here to Florida and you can just live down here. So I know we joke around when we say, like, this is going to be the last one. I mean, not even joking around, but I know we always say, like, this is going to be the last one. But I honestly feel like these people are fighting for their lives and to be seen on stages. And I wanted to share Ramona, if she's still here, you know, you always have my heart. Because me and Ramona will go back and forth. But it's one of those things like, if you don't believe that this is real and this doesn't have consequences, it really does. Because the other person on the other side is literally not even trying to take anybody with disabilities seriously. He's been famously stated that he doesn't want to see veterans or put veterans on screen because it makes people sad, you know. So let's be clear about when we vote, you know. I just say thank you for this stage. I say thank you for the presence. I see some pink tickets out there, so I just want to go ahead and take the, if you let me go, I want to take the time to let everybody know if you guys can join the house. And then make sure to follow Dr. Keisha, Dr. Smith, a lot of these moderators up here, so when they open rooms and we have spaces like this, that you guys will know what's going on out there, because it's going fast, it's going quick, and I wanted to share that with you. On top of that, I wanted to let you know that I had a friend of mine, and I talked to him, and he was letting me know that he kind of joins the room, and he like learned a lot about Kamala Harris, including a lot of that misinformation that's out there. So I just wanted to applaud you on the back for that one, Dr. Keisha, and I'll go back on you. But if anybody else has anything they want to you know, say, just, you know, I mean, it's popcorn time until we get back to the call. I mean,
I'll add something too. As I'm listening, like, this has been so, this last week plus, and in this room, this house, Dr. Keisha and everybody's sharing, it's been so positive and inspiring. And there are little moments like when I'm listening into the disability call, when I'm listening into a couple of the other calls that we had, and when I listen to how people are disenfranchised, I'm fucking angry too. I'm fucking pissed. I knew all of this was going on, and I am positive, and I am inspired, and I'm glad people are inspired, but I'm also fucking angry at this country. And I have been for quite a while, but all of this stuff reminds me that as much as all of this is so positive and it feels very good that this is happening, I'm also fucking angry that we're in this place right now. I'm angry at my fellow Americans. I'm angry that people who sit on the sidelines. I'm angry at the people who let shit like this happen to the disenfranchised in this country, to block them from voting, to make it harder for them for voting. What kind of despicable human beings that exist in this country who do this stuff and do it with glee and do this behind our backs? I'm fucking pissed at this. I mean, I have a whole litany of things that I'm pissed about, But as I'm hearing some of the stories about the disenfranchisement of the voting, that really makes my blood boil. But we can go on to some.
I was giving space for someone to respond because I feel like you did. What kind of world are we? Like to get to this point?
It's really it's infuriating, and I don't want to I don't want to kill the vibe, but just for a moment. I just want to it's like when I really step back and think about it, I'm like, I'm fucking mad. Like, I'm really fucking mad at these people and how they can treat other people and their neighbors like this. What kind of, first of all, disgusting people are they? What kind of religion do they say they adhere to that they don't actually do? They're phonies and hypocrites, and how dare they? And I just want, when I think about what goes on in Texas, there are millions and millions and millions of people in Texas who don't want to have the administration that they have there, who want a different life. And they are being marginalized. They're not being allowed to vote. The gerrymandering that is happening. And I don't even want to get into the issues of guns and police brutality and environment and everything else that these people care for. And people always say things like, oh, well, you can just leave. That is such a comment based on privilege. People cannot leave wherever they are, as a general rule. They don't have family anywhere else. Their family may not take them in. Their family may not have the resources. They don't have the resources. People are stuck where they are, and they have to make do with what they have to make do in their location. And the only way they can get out of this is if their neighbors and other people help them, and their elected leaders listen to them and make the changes. And how dare those other people put their foot on their neck and make their vote not count and cut benefits and cut access to resources so that they can vote or get medical care or have clean water. It's really disgusting that we actually have to say this, and we have to advocate for people in our own community just to have clean air, clean water, access to the polls, and a safe school, for example. So I'm gonna be done. I'm gonna go take a sip of a cocktail that I'm going to now make for myself. It's Friday.
Wait, Rick said turning anger into action. And cocktail.
I was just being nosy. I was like, what is it gonna be, Scotty?
I gotta see what's left over. I almost never drink at home, but I know there's something somewhere in the back of the fridge, or there's some bottle in a drawer in the back of the kitchen or something.
Well, I would like to say thank you for being mad and being upset, because if I had people here in Houston that would like that, maybe we could make a change. The community that I live in, my grandmother moved 2 acres homes, which at one time was the largest black community in the United States. And she moved here in 1929, and they made the change. They did the voting. They made sure people got out and did what they had to do. But now it's like people don't care. I've never seen this. It's terrible. And like you're saying, I have lived here all my life. Why should I have to get up and move for somewhere that I want to live and be able to? I've raised all my kids, my 3 kids in this house. I've been in here since 1977. And I go and I talk to these people, and they just like they don't care. I have never, in this voting thing, it's terrible. And I've been doing this since I was 16 years old, and I'm 73 now. And these people just, I don't get it. It makes me mad too. And sometimes I know they think I'm crazy, because I just get just really so upset, that people just don't even take the time to even talk to. It's terrible. And so we're talking about this man, Abbott, sit up here and let people froze to death in the storm, froze to death, and we still reelected him back in office. Over 1 million people here in Harris County did not vote. Did not vote. And we're dealing with this now, with him back in office. Depressing, it's just really depressing. So, thank you for speaking out. Thank you.
I just wanted to say, he also went on vacation.
Oh, Lord. Well, I feel you guys' pain. I'm in Florida. So, luckily I live in Duval County, and I want to let you guys know that change can happen. I mean, we just elected our first Democratic mayor, and we got her over the finish line because independents, Democrats, and Republicans all came together, and we got our last mayor out of office so he cannot do any more damage. And unfortunately, we're stuck with the sanctimonious, but we are really working hard to get our friends down south to vote, because we discovered that in 22, when we had a lot of them did not get out and vote, they stayed home. And so, I feel you guys' pain. Like, I was on a call the other day, quick story, I was on a call the other day, and our party chair, Nikki Fried, was on it, she was co-hosting it, and it was a pets, it was pets for, pets and pet owners and pet allies for Kamala. And she was talking about how that this is why it's so important that we not only elect Kamala, but make sure that we are all good. We make sure that we let our friends know, our family, our coworkers, all to vote blue, to make sure that you vote up and down the ballot, because here in Florida, we are living under Project 2025. Literally, like the things that are happening here with our education system, with they just passed a bill this last time, said they're taking climate change out of everything, like literally. It's bad, and so the fact that we have a Democratic mayor it's important, right? That we're in a blue county. But besides that, that's why it's so important that we all get out to vote, and we make sure that our friends and family get out to vote, so that we have a chance to make change. Because we did it here in Duval, and everybody came together, and we had our third annual disabilities conference 2 week ago, and they said it was the largest one ever. And so I know that change can happen, and it's going to take all of us, but we have to get her and the rest of and Democrats up and down the ballot, because we also have 2 senators here in Florida, Rick Scott and I forgot the other person's name, but Rick Scott is not doing anything.
Little Marco Rubio.
Yeah, thank you, Ramona, thank you.
No, that was Scotty. But that's okay.
Yeah, Scotty, no, they're
That's
not.
all right. Ramona has a deeper voice than me.
Okay,
I have a higher
you're right.
voice than her.
But no, they're not doing anything. And so, it's kind of sad, but Florida and Texas are one and the same. And I'm done speaking.
Anyone else? Dr. Sharon, you back?
I'm ready.
Oh, okay. We'll go up to Starbury. Sorry.
So I get it all the time. It's okay. I appreciate it. My name is Starcher. I'm here in the Maryland, Washington, D.C. area. I'm from Trinidad originally, but became a U.S. citizen in the United States Army. I'm 100% disabled. So all politics aside, because if you're not a veteran, you really don't know my world. So I support veterans and families. I work with Congressman Glenn Ives on his Veterans Board Committee. I'm a part of the VFW. So I'm all veteran bound, but when it comes to disabled veterans and people who deal with disability on that side, it is, I want to say, first of all, thank you for all y'all speaking up. And like Scotty said, you need to get mad and you need to stay active. Don't wait till every time a politician runs around and then, do this. I know you probably don't do it, but it's not about the politics. It's about our neighbors. It's about each other. And so that is what I advocate. I advocate every day, not just for veterans, but even for myself. Case in point, what Scotty was talking about, it's not just people with disability who are being suppressed and oppressed. It's everyone. As veterans, we know that you draw the line. There's good people and bad people. Right now, I'm going through something currently on my job for a federal agency that discriminates against me because of my disability. Imagine that. So, I appreciate the talk. We need more and more spaces like this. And again, when the voting is over and everyone is okay, this person's in, that person's in, you need to continue the charge, as we say in the military, and continue to fight for the less fortunate, and so they can get a voice. And I thank you.
Thank you, man.
Hey, Dr. Can you hear me?
Can you guys hear him? You're breaking up a bit.
While I'm driving, I don't know.
That's better.
Better? Okay. Yeah. You know what? Actually, driving, listening to the conversation, it just dawned on me that I just never thought that there would be discrimination against persons with disabilities for voting. I just, forgive my ignorance, right? Really, truly, forgive my ignorance. Because, as a physician, I've taken care of, persons with disability, throughout my entire career. Whether it's an elderly person who has to help with the mobility versus I've had blind, deaf, mute, mentally disabled patient that I've taken care of, throughout my career, and it just for me, in my role as a physician, it became kind of natural for me. What do you need? Just going even the extra mile to make sure that they get what they need, and knowing that when this person comes in, and I tell them, when you call and just let them know it's you, so we can reserve, an extended period of time for you, so you can get, get what you need. But I just never thought that, a voting process, your civil duty, your right, will be interested in trying to take away the person's right to vote because they're disabled. How? And that's really all I want to say right now. I can't. Forgive me if I'm, if it's just really truly my ignorance, but I never thought of that. So forgive me.
Thank you, Dr. Sherry. Anyone else? Al? Rick?
Hi, everybody. It's good to see everybody here tonight. I just came in for a little bit. I'll try to come in and out, Dr. Keisha. happy to be here as always. I heard a little bit of the disability, and Ramona, I was just thrilled to listen to you. And I'm going to keep listening for a while, but I'm just glad we're all here together again.
Thank you. Well, we've been here since 6. We've been doing this every day. A lot of us have been here for a long time, so I think we should close it early. But I am going to play a couple of. I'm going to play. Okay, I have some good clips, you guys. Actually, I'm going to play. So let me find the first one. Here's the good one. Let's see if it opens. It's supposed to be. Well, that one's not opening. So, I don't know if you guys knew yesterday that VP Harris gave the eulogy, and then there was a point of it where she accidentally called herself the president.
That America's true and full history must be acknowledged and honored. It was Sheila Jackson Lee whose bill made Juneteenth a federal holiday, which as a United States Senator I was proud to co-sponsor, and then as Vice President, it was my honor, with the President, claim it. It was my honor. It was my honor with our President Joe Biden to stand beside Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee as our president.
Okay, that was good. Now I have some videos. Okay, one of them, listen, you know what is so creative? When someone talks about you and you take it and you throw it into an Instagram reel, a Twitter video, it's just so empowering and so funny. And so there were a couple of groups that did that. And here we go.
Hitless, I have cats. I am the biggest nightmare of this big event. I am a lady who loves her pets. They are good for taking care of all the rats. I am woman. This is cat. We are an item and together we are brats. Get out your notebook. We have a quote. In November we are all going to vote. Childless cat lady, I am running the whole country. Childless cat lady, meow meow. Watch out, JD. Childless cat lady, we are running the whole country. Childless cat lady, you better watch your back, JD. I am
Okay, that was funny. Then there's an attorney. Her name is Stacy with an I, and she's rapping for Kamala.
I told you in June that we need to vote blue. Go for a pretty little thing in a pencil. Don't get it twisted, Harris on major. I put $1 billion on it, that's my wager. Big Libra energy, not Lil Wayne. You know I'm the best lawyers from the same side. The VP finna get a promotion. She finna give Donald Trump an abortion. She saying, wait, finna drop a weed, that's cap. Can't breathe for yourself, that's the real trap. Get your trigger fingers out, let's go back on track. Toss the petty cases out, baby, that's the face. It's Kamala, the daughter of Michelle. Go girl, tell the folks you ain't need no voting money. I'ma vote for a bonafide black woman. Yeah, it's time to vote for a black woman. Yeah, it's time to vote for a black woman. It's time to vote for. It's time to vote for. It's time to vote for a bonafide black woman.
I really like that one. And wait a minute. We're gonna finish with, you guys like to call names and call, we'll play that one again. You guys like to call names and call people weird. It's really not nice when we call people weird.
Weird ones, and if you've ever seen her with the laugh and everything else, that's a weird deal going on there. They're the weird ones. Nobody's ever called me weird. I'm a lot of things, but weird I'm not. And I'm up front, and he's not either, I will tell you. JD is not at all. They are. Well, they're the weird ones, and if you've ever seen her with the laugh and everything else, that's a...
I'm gonna play that rap video again.
the track. I told you in June that we need to vote blue. Go for a pretty little thing in a pencil. Don't get it twisted, Harris something major. I put $1 billion on it, that's my wager. Big Libra energy, not Lil Wayne. You know I'm the best lawyers from the same sign. The VP finna get a promotion. She finna give Donald Trump an abortion. She said, "Wait, finna drop a weed, that's cap. Can't breathe for yourself, that's the real drop. Get your trigger fingers out, we'll go back on track. Toss the petty cases out, baby, that's the fact. It's Kamala, the daughter of Miss Shamala. Go girl, tell the folks you ain't need to vote nothing. I'ma vote for a bonafide black. Yeah, it's time to vote for a black woman. Yeah, it's time to vote for a black woman. It's time to vote for, it's time to vote for, it's time to vote for a bonafide black.
Dr. Keisha, I think I had mentioned it in a room earlier today. And Jerry asked me, Julia, when did you discover that you were Black? And I said, I discovered that I was Black the day I came home after school to watch. There was a program show, a public access channel called Video Music Docs with DJ Ralph McDaniels. And the video that came on was Doing the Button by E. And at that moment, y'all, I realized that I was Black. And I haven't turned back since. Thank you so much.
Oh, Julia. Oh, yeah, Joella.
So Dr. Keisha, there's actually one more that I think you should play. So I don't know if you go on Instagram, there's a young lady by the name I Am Julie Mango.
Oh, I know I Am Julie Mango.
Julie Mango needs to run for president.
America's True.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about too. Hold on, let me get in my,
Yeah, so she does the Jamaican.
Oh yeah, the Jamaican president one. But which one though? She has several.
Yeah, so her latest one, let's see, I'm on there, I don't know.
Her latest one was like a week ago.
She just posted one, let me see, okay, it's 3 days ago.
The one that she pinned, or the one with the red thing on, the one with the head wrap, the one with the one drinking a coconut.
Oh, the coconut.
And your translator addresses the media.
Them send me no point. Hold on there, Barack Obama.
Kamala.
Yes.
Hey there.
Michelle, woman to woman. You see all them tell lie, call me, all them lie and wicked too. Maybe I'm also talking about money.
We hope to say Michelle and I couldn't be
You have
prouder.
to see this.
Child, thank you so much. That means so much to me. Them send me not qualified for the job. And I'm just a DEI hire. Rubbish! But amount of degrees when we have, them are Celsius. Yeah! Madam Fahrenheit. I'm pronounced Kamala. Just call me Madam President. It look like cop, more kill cop. Them say debate anytime, any place. I'm gonna bitch. But then tomorrow, them say them now about the debate. Hold on, what we say to them? Bring me along.
But you know what's so funny is people, unless you don't know what she's saying. But I know what she's saying. That's a good one. You have to watch that one. You should put her in the chat. I'm gonna finish with the cat one.
I have cats.
Okay, can I say something about the cat lady? Is you guys have to see the video too. Her video looks like a real video. It's really cute.